Hello and welcome, Brenda. It is so nice to have you here today. I guess just to get the ball rolling, if you could let us know who you are, where you're from, and then a couple of the modalities that you already offer.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Kennedy, for having me on. I'm so excited for this conversation. My name is Brenda Flores. I'm the owner of Two Moon Studio in the DC metropolitan area. I am a spinal energetics practitioner, a Reiki practitioner, and we offer obviously spinal energetics, Reiki, guided meditation, breath work, and some beautiful ceremonies as well.
Ah, I love it. Um, I was even before we even started recording, I said that like I just love any time that I get to interact with you because you were such a large part of my journey as well. So you actually offered me my first spinal energetic session online, which like I'm so very grateful because clearly it's led me to this point in time, which is amazing. So I have to ask, what drew you to spinal energetics?
Oh, yes, I totally remember your session. It was amazing. To be completely honest, I first found out about spinal energetics through a Reiki client of mine. She sent me a video on Instagram and said, I don't know why, but when you're doing Reiki on me, something feels like very familiar, like this video. And I saw it and I was like, wow, like I gotta try this. This looks amazing. And then I had my first session and it felt like home. It felt so familiar and good in my body that I was just like, I know I want to share this. I want to keep doing this and I want to share this with the world.
Mm. Mhm. I love it. I've been getting a lot of, so I've done a handful of these interviews so far, and this sense of familiarity just keeps coming up. Like that full body yes seems
Yeah.
to really like surge through people. So, what was your first spinal energetic session like? What was that experience for you?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect, but I went in with an open heart and just this sense of receptiveness. It was a virtual session. There aren't any one-on-one practitioners in my area. With a lovely lady from New Zealand, and it was beautiful. It felt very connected. I felt very, very at ease in that energy of just deepening my connection with myself. Um, it definitely showed me areas of my life and body that I still needed to kind of work on and work through. So I felt like it was very eye opening for me into my next chapter of my life.
Mm, hmm So, what were some of the effects or things that you noticed, be it physically, mentally, emotionally, that started to take place for you after your session?
So there's definitely an awareness that was brought to some fear and anxiety that I was still having. I dealt with a lot of chronic pain for years and for 7 years. And when I was able to get out of that chronic pain, I still had fear and anxiety around getting sick again. And so
Hmm.
that session, she held such beautiful space for me and really brought awareness to the fear and anxiety that I was still holding on to and how to let go of that so that I would just release that fear of, hey, I might get sick again. And instead of thinking that, shifting my mindset to, I've been freed of that already.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. So I will say, you're one of the first that I've been able to interact with, talk to that was really focused on healing physical pain.
Yeah.
So what was, if you could elaborate a bit on that, like what were some of the things that you were experiencing physically, and then how did you find relief through spinal
Yeah.
energetics?
So, for me, I had undiagnosed chronic pain, mainly in the top part of my body. So my head, I had like, it was basically a migraine that never went away. Head pressure, pain in my jaw, pain around my different areas here around my face. I had lost hearing in my left ear. I had lost peripheral vision. I had multiple spinal taps just throughout the years that I was dealing with this. And I actually found relief and through a holistic doctor or naturopathic doctor in a different country. That was where my spiritual journey kind of really took took a huge turn, because he was able to point out and say, okay, let's deal with the physical stuff. He was able to help me through that. I did a full body detox, a lot of physical therapy. I'm talking physical therapy, Kennedy, that like they're in there, like the tears are flowing because it's
Yeah.
that deep, and of course, tinctures and other like natural remedies that he gave to kind of detox my body from all the pharmaceuticals that I had been taking for so long. But it was what he said to me. He said, this happened from unresolved trauma of your inability to let go of control.
Mm,
And he said, you really need to look for ways to regulate your nervous system and dive deeper into your healing journey that has to do with unresolved trauma. And so that's where my journey with these different modalities, these healing modalities really started. It was the catalyst. The pain was the catalyst to my healing, like really healing. So spinal energetics came in a little bit after I did a lot of self work, meditation, breath work, Reiki, but it was what truly shifted and connected that entire life cycle of pain, trauma, pain, physical pain, healing, finding that center, regulating my nervous system. It's kind of what brought everything together. So I would still sometimes get like little spurts of headaches that wanted to come throughout my healing journey up to leading up to spinal energetics. And there was always that fear of like, oh my God, I'm about to get a migraine or something. And
mhm.
and so what spinal did for me was allow me to focus on different areas of my body that needed to just be a little bit more connected, where I could find my center and allow myself to realize when that control was happening again, where I wanted to control what my body was feeling versus just allowing it to feel whatever and feeling peace and calm with, hey, this might happen, but it's okay. Okay. So that really was like I would say like the cherry on top of my healing journey, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad I asked. I feel like that's really going to resonate with a lot of people who are experiencing like physical chronic pain and are just like at that place of like, I don't know what to do. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for sharing that. And so then I guess like once you found spinal energetics and you had that first session, um, what were some of the things that you started noticing changing in your external, maybe with the people around you, or even just, the external reality that you were existing in at that point?
So there's this beautiful thing when you start to regulate your nervous system, when you start to feel through things versus being reactive to things that are exterior to you, that that happen around you. It's like a ripple effect. My children, started noticing how I would yell less. I was a very angry person dealing with chronic pain for a long time. So it was anything, any noise, any stimulation would always set me off. So they really did put up with a lot of my yelling and my outbursts for sure. And so spinal really helped just taking a step back, allowing me to feel what I'm feeling in my body, acknowledge the feelings of frustration that come as a parent, frustration that come as a spouse or as a business owner, and feel through them versus being reactive to that external. And just allowing the emotions to come through and feeling them before I actually regurgitate,
Right.
you know, so that was a big shift for me. I think for my children, and they'll be, they'll attest to it. They always do that. There was two versions of me, and the version before was an angry, you know, sick, yelling mom, and now the version of me is I have more patience. I can feel through and talk to them versus yell at them. So for as a mom, that's huge because we get a lot of mom guilt from not from not being able to give our children the best that they deserve. And a lot of times it's, relationship with their parent and being able to feel heard and communicate with them. So that was a big thing for me. I would also touch on the fact that like for me with spinal, it was very much finding out who I was and my purpose. And through that work, I've been able to to figure out what I really want to do in life. And that's helped me take a big shift too in
Mm.
career.
Right. Right. I I love all of that. And so I get like, so with all of these external changes, I mean, I guess that is kind of the proof in the pudding enough. Is that mostly what kept you coming back to spinal energetics, to to having and receiving your own sessions? Or was there anything else that kind of just kept encouraging you to like get back on the table, to have another session, to
I
dig
think
a
for
little
me,
deeper?
I've always been a person who I don't like just to talk the talk, but I like to walk the walk. And I knew that if this was something that I wanted to share with the world, that I wanted to experience as much of it as possible. And so even to this day, I still have sessions, I still swap sessions with other practitioners. I go in person if I can in different areas, or if I'm traveling, I try and connect because healing is not linear. Healing is like this. There's always going to be something in our life that we need to kind of work on, that we need to bring attention to, that our body is saying, hey, you're starting to get a little tight on this side or over here, or your neck. So I feel like what keeps me and kept me going back was the understanding that we don't always have the answers to everything all the time. And that, yes, it lies within us. And sometimes we need a little bit of help to unlock that innate wisdom to be able to move through different situations that maybe we haven't experienced before.
Mm. That would get me back on the table. So my last question for you, Brenda, then is, if you were to describe spinal energetics with just one word, what would that word be?
I would have to say growth.
Yeah,
Yeah, growth. And the
yeah,
reason why that's the first word that always comes to me is that as human beings, as a bunch of molecules, all this DNA that's running through us, we're constantly evolving and growing in our knowledge and our wisdom and the um, the ability to connect with others, the way we do those things. And for me, spinal was a way for me to grow in those areas, grow in my connection with myself, grow in my connection with other people, grow in the wisdom with my own body and my mind and my spirit. So for me, spinal is growth.
yeah, definitely. Well, and I love it too, because it just feels a little full circle for me, because you've been such a huge part of my growth experience and like my journey to growing within this practice and this community in general. So for that, I thank you deeply, immensely. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here and chat with me and share a little bit about your experience.
Yes, thank you, Kennedy, and thank you for trusting me, and thank you for trusting yourself. And anyone who gets to experience your beautiful magic through this work is just so lucky and fortunate, because you are such an amazing human being. So thank you so much for having me on and for continuing to walk in this walk with me.
Yes. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.